What's going on, guys? Still here, and we're back again with the other Devblog that was released today, the Dagor Engine 6.0, which has visual improvements, effects, and DLSS. Now, this update this is the reason why I am super excited for War Thunder 2.0. This game is in dire need of a graphical overhaul and performance rework. And I've already streamed both dev servers, so we already kind of know a lot about this stuff, but we're just going to kind of quickly overview. The first thing on the list is hit effects on armored vehicles, which basically shots that penetrate now have holes. So if a tank is burning, as you can see here, you can see the glow of the fire on the inside. Neat. And if you look on the Ferdinand here, you can see shells that do not penetrate will leave a shell in its place. If it's something like a solid slug, things like high explosive will just leave dents. So pretty much depending on the caliber and what type of damage the shell does, it will have a different effect. Which would be kind of interesting to see how fragmentation rounds would work, considering that those rounds can barely pen anything. It would be kind of interesting to see how those would show up. The other thing that I know, we all know that we hate night battles when we don't have night vision, and especially if we don't have thermal. And considering that Gaijin said that they removed pitch black night battles, which they did for the most part, but it came back like a week later, because I don't think they removed every scenario from the rotation that involved that. They have illuminating shells, which will pop up for random period of time, or a certain period of time, completely randomly, it seems. I feel like it should be a kind of call-in that maybe light tanks could use, or medium tanks / MBTs at higher tiers. Something like, I feel like it would be a nice thing that you could call in, like a more mortar-sized round that is not as illuminating, that's a little smaller, for personal use, because considering it's all random, I mean, if you kind of look here on Poland, it's kind of it's kind of a weird drop. I think it drops over cap circles on like domination or whatnot, but we'll just have to wait and see. But either way, it's good that tanks without night vision, whether they're stock and they just don't have it yet, or just flat out don't have it, will now be able to see. I really wish the STRV 103 could use its illumination round mortar that they had. That would be really awesome. Tanks that could fire illumination rounds would be really awesome. I think the Berkova can actually fire it too, if I'm not mistaken, but I'm not sure. But tanks that have the capability to have illuminating rounds like the S-Tank would make the S-Tank not only a little bit better, but it would be a little bit more, it would bring some more utility to the game for some vehicles. And of course, we have shadows from dynamic lights. Just look at this hangar screenshot. Just look at that. Lighting. I kind of just want to ride around on a night map just because. And also, shockwave effects on grass. As you can see, every time you fire, you stir up all the grass around you, which is really interesting. What is really nice about these shadows and the illumination of guns firing and stuff now, because guns never really illuminated their surroundings. There was just kind of an illuminating effect on the barrel that was just an effect. It wasn't actually in the register, like in the game world. It was really hard to see. There's a lot of visual cues that will show you where people are firing from now. Of course, if you don't have grass on a tank site, you won't see this when you're in sniper mode, but especially in more dim or dark scenarios, you will be able to see gun flashes more prominently, machine gun fire, what else? Like the muzzle flashes and stuff are now more prominent. The missiles for higher tier missiles now illuminate the ground as they fly past. They will be more noticeable. It's really great that this game is finally getting the overhaul that it deserves. And then also, as they demonstrated on the dev server streams, the official Gaijin dev server streams, and I assume many other streamers or content creators did on their streams, you can tow dead vehicles, which now exists the entire match until it ends. However, I see this being a problem in custom battles when customs go on for a certain more extended period of time. I think that it should become an option that you can turn on or off when you're setting up a custom battle, because on the dev server, when we played a tank match, if we just kept killing each other over and over and over again, it starts to hamper performance, especially when wrecks don't ever stop burning and there's a lot of visual particle effects. It does take a toll on the game. So for those who enjoy messing around in custom battles a lot, I think that they should probably make that an option to turn on or off. And this feature, bending wings and vibrations of wings when on landing, when on takeoff, when you're overspeeding. This is something that War Thunder has needed for years. This game has always, in the end, been a flight sim, or not really a sim, but it's a flight game. It's a game about aircraft for most of its lifespan. So the fact that this is now in the game is amazing. I definitely noticed it if you watched my dev server shenanigans video. I noticed it on the British Phantom when I was going near rip speed on the deck. I'm so happy. I'm just so happy for that. And then there's also pixel reflectance of surfaces. I'm not too much into graphic stuff, but I don't really... Oh, no, I kind of see. There's a little bit more vibrancy, if that's the word, to the map. Everything is a little bit more vibrant and less desaturated, which, funny enough, I actually used the desaturated post effects because it seemed more realistic to me, because the default seemed a bit too dry. Like, even though I was using desaturated, it seemed dry, and then contrast seemed just a bit too contrasty. So if you just look at that, it's nice. Then we have deep learning super sampling, which, if I can full screen this, it's really hard to tell, especially through YouTube compression and processing, but basically edges are a lot nicer and cleaner and crisper now. There was one thing I noticed, and I don't know if they corrected it, and you can't really tell in this clip, but there's a lot of ghosting. So I was flying on the deck at night in my Mirage, and basically it was like my aircraft was like through some like ghosty super slow-mo, and it was like had a shadow of itself off the back of the aircraft, and it's very ugly and kind of hurts the eyes. Oh look, the other video's done. And it kind of hurts the eyes. Also, you can't really tell because the little icon in the top, but there is definitely actually a performance buff. Like, but like I think that says like 106 right there at the end. There's like a 30, 40, almost 50 frame jump, a frame boost with that being on, rather than being at native 4K. Like, holy shit. And I did notice that I was getting 200 frames in most of my games versus War Thunder now currently, where I get maybe like 180, minimum of like 120 in a really dense tank battle, sometimes 80 in custom battles. And then also this is the hit marks on the environment, which is basically the same thing as up top with the tanks, except on the environment. Okay, there are multiple clips here. No, that's been okay. Now, so as you can see on the left there was probably a medium-sized shell. Here, probably like a more large caliber shell, and then on the right there was like a siege type weapon, which just completely destroyed the building. So yeah, this is something this game has needed for years. The aircraft components, like the new clouds and stuff, and the wing bending, that has been needed in this game for so long. Especially for a lot of people I know who wonder why their plane just suddenly rips. Like, specifically, I know on the Phantom, a lot of people complain that when it does a roll, sometimes it just randomly, the wing randomly explodes. You will have that bit of visual representation that your wing is about to snap. Like, that does happen. If you pay very close attention, you will notice the one wing go flex up and the other down, and it just snaps right off. So I'm super excited. It makes the game so much better. The new lighting, the new hangar, everything. It's just, this game is finally becoming a game worthwhile. Like, I remember World of Tanks went through a graphical renaissance years ago. Now, of course, they use a different engine, and the game is also a little bit older than War Thunder. I don't know by how many years, but it is older. They have gone through massive overhauls in World of Tanks, and the game looks great now for what World of Tanks' engine is. And War Thunder going through that now, it's very exciting. So yeah. Anyways, guys, I'll leave the link to this in the description of the video. And that's pretty much it for me. I'm Steel Wolf. I'll see you all next time.